Bandito Radio 112 FM, a streaming radio station for all toy enthusiasts, collectors, photographers, and customizers. Built to match your mood and passion. Music from hip-hop to country and all the rock in between with host Howlin' Jim Jackson. For a dose of the macabre, there's Myra's Morgue of Midnight Madness. Plus our newest collector podcast, Purple Gang Gang Full Frontal Purple. And Action Figure Frequencies. With your hosts, SKN's own Chet Maddox and Alexander Storm. Bandito Radio 112 FM. Available to stream now on Spotify, Podbean, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and YouTube.
Hello, everybody, and happy 4th of July. It is PPI. We appreciate you all watching us either right now or another time right now. It could be right now anywhere. It could be right now today, tomorrow, in the
That's
future.
true.
When will then be now?
Whenever
Now
you're
will be
watching,
then.
it's right now. Right now. Hey, thanks for joining us, man. Happy 4th of July weekend. I hope you're watching fireworks or going to be watching fireworks or barbecuing or hot dogs, hamburgers, corn, baked beans. We can go on. And to celebrate 4th of July weekend, we're going to talk about comics' most patriotic characters. That's right. You may be thinking Captain America, but there's several other characters that could be the best to represent patriotic America.
Oh, wait.
No cap. No cap. Plus, the Pre-Order Mafia is back. That is right. You heard the news this week. HasLab G.I. Joe, but there are a lot of other figure releases. And so what is the roundtable verdict? Are we sleeping with the fishes with these figures? Or are we making them made plastic? Plus, Indiana Jones returned? Dr. Brantley might have something to say about this. Stay tuned. Thanks for tuning in. This is Pixels, Plastic, and Ink.
I may not make an honest buck, but I'm 100% American.
Wow. Wow. I'm. What are we doing here? Recording the show. We should
That
be
music-
lighting some fireworks or
That music,
something.
that music turned the intro into like a 90s sitcom intro.
Yes. Before we kick off our fireworks, let's check in first.
So
Mr.
good.
Storm, how are you, sir?
Well, whenever you see G.I. Joe the movie, just starts you off right, damn it. Just starts you off right. I hope everybody's having a great 4th of July. Hope you guys are popping fireworks. Hope you guys didn't have somebody on that hot grill all day by themselves. And everybody's enjoying themselves and being safe.
Dr. Brantley, how are you, sir?
Great. Happy 4th of July. And hope everyone is able to celebrate safe and sanely.
Jet Maddox, how are you, sir?
Well, happy 4th of July to all of you too. And I celebrated the most American way I can think of by grabbing the SDCC exclusive Rhino that released on the 1st. So I am excited about that because there's nothing more American than spending money you don't have.
That's the truth.
Yeah, and you know who doesn't like a good story about Knights of the Round Table? So hey, look, I'm excited to be here. Thank you, longtime listener, first time caller. So I appreciate it, Mr. Rad. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm good. I'm good. I mean, word to the to people out there, as Dr. Brantley said, let's stay safe and do not light the fireworks you bought at Temu. That's all I have to say about that. Well, let's jump into
Use
it.
the long lighter. Don't use the tiny ones right by the fuse.
Well, back in my day, we used matches, so we should be safe.
We held them in our teeth.
Let's get right into the main subject, the main topic of tonight, and that is comics. Most patriotic characters, Mr. Storm. I feel like I should be wearing some red, white, and blue, or at least a beer in my hand.
You know, we try to do these theme shows for you. If we're not here live, it feels like we are here live with you. So you're just in the moment and everything. Other shows don't do that, but we here on the SKN Network, we have a standard higher than the rest. So we're going to start this off with the comics' most patriotic characters. Now, again, when we do this, let me just stress to everyone, these are just our opinions. These are not set in some form of stone, so you can disagree. And if you are doing that, make sure you're doing it in the comment section right down there. And while you're there, make sure you're actually subscribing. So let's just hit these. And they're in no particular order. We didn't do 1 through 10. We're just going to say it at the end. Everybody can say who's the most patriotic character that they believe. And you two in the chat can do that as well. Let's start this off. All right. Well, look, when nothing screams more patriotic than DC Comics, Uncle Sam. Well, you know why? Because he was a character that they really just took technically, because it wasn't something they invented. They just shaped his own lore into it. But come on, you see this guy, you instantaneously take two things: this guy's making fried chicken, or he's actually getting ready to enlist into some kind of army that you don't want to go to.
He wants you for something.
Exactly. But Uncle Sam, anybody read any of the comics? I know he did. He had a book at DC called Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters at one point. Anybody read that?
I actually have that first issue, I think, because that was when I was heavily into DC for a while in the 2000s era. I picked it up just because I'll try it.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of weird.
What about you, Mr. Maddox? Any run-ins with Uncle Sam in the DC universe, my friend?
I did, but it was short-lived. I get what they're doing. It was like, I feel like Uncle Sam was just like trying to be like, I feel like it was just Uncle Sam was like DC's way of just trying to be like your friend that's a one-upper.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you got Captain America. Well, we got Uncle Sam. It's like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
So I don't know. Like, and you know what? I'll be honest. It's one of those times where I can tell you that Marvel had a better storyline than DC. So
okay, all right. Rad, you familiar with the character? Or just the first time you've seen him in his old red, white, and blue?
Oh, I've seen it, but I'm not familiar with him, and I chose not to be familiar with him. So yeah, yeah. Hey, Uncle Sam as a character as a whole in all his glory from the creation up and through now is much different perhaps than the character that people have seen in the comic book pages. So if you're asking between the two who's more patriotic, are you saying that Uncle Sam the character or Uncle Sam the comic book character?
I'm saying the comic book character. This is strictly in the veins of comic books. So, do you think he holds up some patrioticness in the comic books? Because
Sure.
God knows
I
he's
mean,
dressed like it.
look, you gotta be loving America. You wearing some tights like that, some pants like that, looking like American Beetlejuice, you know.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Well, and yeah, to
yeah.
tell you how good it is, I just checked my collection. I do have number 1, but I only have issue 1. That's
Yeah.
when I stopped.
Well,
Yeah.
Uncle Sam kind of wears on you, I'm sure. After a while, his message kind of seems the same. So I'm pretty sure it did work for issue 2. But then we know the guy that everyone knows, and he is the main reason why we actually tuned into the MCU. This character created by Joe Simons and Jack Kirby. You know, there's no Stan Lee attached to this one. And I'm not familiar with who created Uncle Sam because I think it's the United States government, but we'll let DC, they're used to ripping on people, so they can do it. Uh, but right here we got Captain America, Steve Rogers, one of several, because there are always some versions of Captain America that's around. Gentlemen, what is your feelings on Captain America, Steve Rogers as a character?
I mean,
My absolute
greatest,
favorite.
greatest comic book, one of the greatest comic book characters of all time.
Yeah, because at first, when I was getting into comics, I was DC mostly, but then I started getting a few characters. I was Punisher, Ghost Rider, but something about Captain America, just like the straight up patriotism, something spoke to me about that, and I picked it up, and I absolutely loved it back then in the late '80s. Ron Lim was drawing it; it was beautiful.
Absolutely. Mr. Maddox, Captain America touches the place in your heart.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is like your best friend that's like the one upper where they saw like Uncle Sam and they're like, "Oh, hold my beer. Here's Captain America." And this is one of the times that I would tell you that Marvel probably had a better storyline than DC. No, I'm just kidding. I love Captain America. Steve Rogers was cool. Is a good origin story. I think it's one of the few origin stories that kind of just like sets the stage for like everything around it. And hey, look, it's probably one of the better MCU films, anyways, right? Especially Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, one of my favorites.
They had a lot to pull from. So, what about you?
Oh no, man! Steve Rogers. First of all, the Winter Soldier probably is one of the best MCU films. I can watch it every time it's on. It's fantastic. Chris Evans does a fantastic job of actually being Captain America. Yet, though, you feel like he could do the things he's supposed to do, and yet have that human quality. I've always been a fan of Steve Rogers, even in the comic book form. And I think the first time I saw him was when Jim Lee had did an issue of Uncanny X-Men, and it had Captain America, Black Widow, and Wolverine on the cover. And I was like, yeah, I'm gonna read this. It's like, so great character, great aesthetics. Hopefully he's still going strong in the MCU. They've got a couple of movies to get him on track and get him back, so we'll see.
Well,
from there,
I have to say though, the thing I love about him is you can do the World War II stories, which I absolutely loved, and then the whole Man Out of Time aspect is brilliant for bringing him into a modern age, but still maintaining that 1940s American patriotism that seems to be missing a lot nowadays. And also he knows good enough that you don't do red and white stripes for the entire pants. You just use a little midriff.
Yeah, he was worried about somebody in World War II finding him in the crowd, which is still his costume still kind of screams that out a little.
I think. Well, hold on a second. I think that's a really good point that no one ever brings up about Cap.
Yeah,
like, and I'm being like dead serious. Like his like costume is like you get what the costume is without it just being blatant. Like even the shield, right? It's like circular with the star in the middle. his like outfit is like there is lines, but it's also got the star, and then the majority of the costume is blue. Like there's just a lot of stuff they did right with Cap. Like this era of like comics is when you could tell they like cared about what they look like. So yeah, that's a good point.
Sure. All right, so we go on to the others. Let's go. Now, here's a character that has been around, and actually, here's the thing. He has been around actually for a whole several months before Captain America premiered. This is the Shield. And a lot of people don't know who he is because he stands over in a little part of Archie Comics that a lot of people don't remember that much anymore. But the Shield actually is he's the older brother of Captain America. I've read him a couple of times. There's a couple of Rob Liefeld issues that I wish I never read that he drew a couple of years ago. But anyone else have any run-ins with the Shield? Anybody read any of these books or?
Just Michael Chiklis as a bad cop.
Yeah, I have not. Who's the artist on this? It looks familiar.
I think this is Todd Knock, if I'm not mistaken. It could be. So all right, well, like the Shield again.
I actually like Shield. I think it was really good. It was heavier in Archie Comics. But he definitely does predate Captain America by short, but he definitely predates him. I think if you haven't had a chance to read it, it'd be cool for you to pick up like kind of some of the very first the first ones that were by I think it was Joe Higgins, I want to say. Yeah, I think Joe Higgins is the one who created this in like 1940. So I really do like the stories. It's cool. It's cool to know that it was like before Captain America. He's cool, man. I think he's cool.
Absolutely. Now this next character, if you don't know who he is, well, his motto was truth, justice, and the American way. It's changed lately, but when we came up, this was probably like when you start thinking Captain America and Superman were probably the two biggest patriotic characters that I remember coming up. This one obviously is drawn by the damn near perfect Jim Lee, which I think he's actually became him. John Burns. I would say there's a couple other artists that really kind of just pulled off that look for Superman and makes him look bigger than life. I don't need to know. I know every one of you guys know this, but does Superman fit in that patriotic way? Do you think of him as a patriotic character?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, he, grew up in Kansas, Smallville, with these American values, with an older couple raising him. So, it's built into his whole identity.
Okay. And Mr. Maddox, when you see this version of Superman, do you think that that's going to hold up to the new version that's going to the screen?
I mean, I feel like I got the loaded question, but hey, look, I'm gonna tell you this.
Hot take somehow, man.
Look, here's my take on this. Right, when I look at this, sure, I think older versions of Superman probably do more for me when it comes to like thinking about that. I was telling you, I just got done watching like Superman 3 again. And I'm like, man, there's no way this new movie beats this. So I think that this version, this era, right? I think this whole era, by the way, it definitely does scream like America, first, whatever. So yeah, I'm into it. I definitely don't think the beta fish that's Superman in the new movie does the same thing, but whatever.
Well, I'm going to ask the same thing to you, Rad. Do you think that removing that aspect of him being more American in the comic books, think that hurt that character, or do you think that now he's more international as a character? Do you think that was the right move, man?
I mean, I think yes or no. Like, I think personal preference was like, I think there's more Superman to be more patriotic. I think, he's wearing the red, white, and blue. Red, yellow, and blue, should I say? But I mean, there's a symbolism there. I mean, look at the stance. It might as well just be his cape and American flag. But I get the global impact in being a little bit farther removed from that, so people can resonate with a character like a Superman. So I think it's yes or no, but I definitely think, regardless of the transition into the books or film, or that he's still synonymous with the red, white, and blue. I think the values, what he stands for. I'm curious to see how that shows up and translates into this new film, and if they even dabble and touch on the subject, or it's just like, nope, we're looking for global box office. There's no link to anything USA. That I think it will be an important point to discuss.
Makes sense. Makes sense. From there, okay, so we leave the Shield and Superman to the ways of the old days, and we jump into here's another character. If you remember these two names, you remember that from the earlier point. Joe Simons and Jack Kirby. Well, when they Serge Mosley was exited from our buddies over at Marvel, they decided to come up with another character called Fighting American. Now, this character was really kind of lost in the comic history, but Rob Liefeld, about when he left Image Comics, started Awesome Comics, and he brought him back. Now, there's a couple of differences. While Captain America throws his shield, Fighting American has a integrated laser system, and his shield is more of a weapon compared to Captain America's. But pretty much it's the same kind of philosophy. They both have some form of a super serum. They're a little bit over muscly brown. This is actually drawn by the artist Stephen Pratt back in the heydays. So now, anybody heard of Fighting American? And look, he looks patriotic, right? And the giant has some missile.
So I have, but I just want to point out something. This is a correction to what I said earlier, but also just to kind of like show you how these all kind of like blend together. When I said Joe Higgins for Shield, I was talking about that's Shield's name, right? So
Yes.
that's who Shield is, not the creator. That was like shortened in somebody else, Novak or whatever his name was. But this is kind of weird because like Shield existed before Captain America, and Shield's story was the whole first hour of Captain America, the MCU movie. They literally basically kind of just wrote it as Captain America instead of Shield, and Shield had like super serum from his dad, and so they kind of like mixed that, right? It was Stark did the serum, but Higgins' dad was a lieutenant that then did the serum, and Germans fucked it up and whatever. So that's Higgins. So Fighting American legitimately is a mix between Shield and Captain America, and where Captain America maybe falls flat, they beef it up. So Captain America's shield was defensive, and then Fighting American Shield is offensive, and then Captain America was like super serum from someone else. Shield was super serum from his dad, but then like Shield isn't quite as like crazy and buff as like Real American. So there's kind of like this thing that like floats through like DC that is just kind of like, come on, like we gotta we gotta get a little bit better here. I don't know.
Absolutely. Well, man, Rad, what do you think about the Fighting America? You ever read any of his books?
I mean, this poster here is the most muscular character I've ever. I mean, how many abs we got in the thigh muscles? I didn't know was possible.
I don't even know if he has thighs. It's just pure.
I mean, I don't know.
Pumping American steel here, bro.
I mean, so was Fighting American before Captain America? Or
no, he was actually after.
I could tell.
Jack Kirby and Stan Lee were kicked out of Marvel for the first time, and then they started doing their own comic after that.
No, I've heard of U.S. Agent, but Fighting American, not so much.
Okay,
yeah,
Dr. Brentley.
I was going to joke that who made this Rob Liefeld because of his proportions and the amount of muscles on it. But now that I know where it's
You
from,
sure
it
it's not
all
a
makes
Liefeld?
sense. It
Yeah.
looks
You sure
to
this
me.
is Liefeld? I'm
It
pretty
looks-
sure.
No,
it's
this
Liefeld.
is Steve.
Awful.
This is Stephen Pratt. He did work for Rob Liefeld, though. I will
But yeah,
say
but
that.
I mean, it definitely reminds me of the same screwy proportions of that's definitely not a human being that's riding on that missile. So yeah,
Well, let's be
That's
honest.
also
You've never seen anybody ride a missile, not in the United States military.
Dr. Strangelove.
Yeah,
that's also not what he looked like.
yeah. No, it was an updated version of him when Rob Liefeld used the license when Joe Simon was at
And was
the
like
past. He
and
did
was
update
like
his suit.
and he was like, you know what? His forearms need to be bigger than his head,
Yeah, well,
right?
or-
And then also remember, Fighting American's name was John Flagg. So let's not.
Yep. Which makes him super patriotic if you think about that. But and there's been way more
Was
flags
it
than
with
we've
two?
ever seen.
Wait, was it 2 G's or 1 G?
I
One.
think it's 1G. Yeah.
This is one.
Would have been
Um,
if 2 G's. Then I'm thinking GI Joe would have been more patriotic. By the way, this looks more like a Tylenol PM poster where it's like, you got a headache? Here comes Captain
It goes to
Tylenol.
relief. Well, the next character, especially over the last 4 to 5 years, is starting to get a little bit more popular. But if you read the Captain America issues in the 90s, for about a time, Cap was exercised out of being in the position, and John Walker took over as Captain America. Now, some bad things happened, just like in the actual television series, where John Walker should not have been Captain America. But he decided to become a rogue agent. He calls himself the U.S. agent. He's been in the Thunderbolts as of recent that we've seen this character. And if you watch the Falcon and Winter Soldier, he transformed from, the Captain America to the U.S. agent. How familiar are you guys with him?
I'm honestly not very familiar with this one. I mean, I know him just, but more of like recent than I do from like previous. I guess whatever. I wasn't impressed with how they portrayed him, so whatever.
Okay.
See, I actually liked how they did him in Falcon and Winter Soldier and in Thunderbolts. It's actually a good character the way he does it. He's not a great guy, but that's the character.
Yeah, I've seen him in various comic issues, but has he ever had a standalone? I don't.
Yeah, he did for a while.
He
And
has.
actually, for
No,
one moment, he was
never read
also in
that.
the Cap book for, I think, about 50, 60 issues when Captain America
Yeah, I remember.
he was Captain America.
Yeah, I like the concept. Cool character. I don't know if it screams patriotic. It's kind of
Well,
embedded in selfish, but in terms of enjoying reading and cooler character, U.S. agent. But again, I don't know too much about Fighting American. I would say more patriotic. This poster definitely feels like Captain Tylenol's got the advantage over U.S. agent.
Well, here's the thing. We know right now that so far this list is making through that you need to have a costume of red, white, and blue, and you must have a shield, so that automatically sinks you in. So those are our markings at the moment. We'll see if that fares a little later. Next, we've got some people. We've got Stargirl, who actually had her own series on the CW, which I know no one in America remembers that anymore, that channel, but also on the DC Universe app as well initially. And then, of course, while it's, color scheme wise, we think of this as a patriotic character, but, she's not actually from America. So it never quite made that much sense to me. But we've got Stargirl and Wonder Woman.
Neither.
I have no idea who the hell Stargirl is.
Yeah, and Wonder Woman wasn't very patriotic.
Well, she's wearing the red, white, and blue.
I mean, the TV show, Linda Carter was very patriotic. She was working for the War Department, and then suddenly she jumped forward 40 years, and she was working in the 1970s.
Yeah, there's a reason why the show got 2 seasons.
I
Yeah,
just never saw her as like a U.S. character. You know what I mean?
I
Like a,
I
and
never
I don't
did
know anything
too,
about Stargirl at
but
all.
yeah,
That's a
well,
Jeff Johns, right?
yep, Jeff Johns.
Character. Yeah, the show just never looked appealing to me. The character, the book, I was just like, nah, thanks.
I think actually every time I see Stargirl, and like I said again, and I could give a shit if Jeff Johns watch the show gets mad, but it looks like he ripped off like Rusty and the Big Guy Robot. It's just every time I see this combination with Stargirl and the other character, I'm like, it just seems like like Frank Miller and Jeff Darrell should be getting a check from DC or from Jeff Johns.
What is her weapon? What is that?
It's a staff that was made from Starman, which was another DC character that wasn't at all patriotic, but for some strange reason she dressed patriotically. I have
Hmm.
damn clue. It didn't make any damn sense and shit. This is just something that Jeff Johns made and shit, and we got to live with it. So that's what I'm saying.
She was Courtney Whitmore was born to a couple that broke up when she was very young. As a teenager, Courtney was not taken by the man that her mother brought home, Pat Dugan. Courtney may not have liked Pat, but her mother did, and they eventually got married. After being moved to Blue Valley, Nebraska, Courtney went through his stuff and found a cosmic converter belt. Soon afterwards, about Pat's history in superheroics, she became Star-Spangled Kid, mostly to annoy him. Pat would make a mech suit to follow her around, and thus Team Stars and Stripes were formed.
Yep, that's what I
Nope.
said again. Yeah, it didn't work too.
What
This
a
CW series wasn't really that great
stupid
either. Let's
fucking-
just be honest. So it went 3 seasons, unfortunately, but it wasn't really that great.
Well, it's good for
So,
them.
yeah.
But,
And it's
no
another
one-
paycheck for Jeff
She
Johns.
was in the
so I
New 52.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
was too. Yes, sir. Yep. Well, now we've got to, that out of the way. Let's go and hit up. I think we've got some interesting ones popping up that we're getting done. Here we go. Now, if you got to have two polar opposites, and yet do also two of the distinctive versions, you got Homelander, which if you haven't been watching, if you haven't watched the Amazon Prime series, well, you can say he's patriotic. He's just a new, different way of thinking of it. And then you got Captain America, Isaiah Bradley, as the Captain America that nobody knew about and everything. Both have actually premiered on the screen. Isaiah Bradley has been recently through the Falcon and Winter Soldier. He was also in the brand new Captain America Brave New World film. Homelander is going, I believe, on season number 5 of The Boys.
Last season. Yep.
Yeah, so, but you can't say he ain't patriotic, bro. He only fights for America. He only kills for America. Homelander.
I mean, look, I love Homelander. It's a weird concept. The Boys show is Kirkman's weird thing, I guess. But yeah, I mean, I like Homelander, and I think he's good. It's funny to watch. I'll just say that because I really think Homelander is really what Superman wants to do, but he doesn't.
Yes, I
really think Homelander is what Superman wants to do.
Yeah. Dr. Brentley.
Well, I love the Isaiah Bradley character, and I think that Marvel really screwed up how they did him in the MCU live action because this could have been such a great story, and they have a great actor portraying him as the older version. They could have done some younger stuff, again, in the World War II setting, and then brought him forward and showed him nowadays and how he is sort of forgotten and left behind. But there was a great story they could have told there, and I think they kind of blew it.
Okay. And Rad, obviously, I know you're familiar with Homelander. He's probably been on everybody's TV for the last 5 years.
Yeah, not so familiar with this Cap here, but Homelander, sick, sadistic, obviously not a lot of values, but you make an interesting point of like fights for America and kills for America. So he has the best, in my opinion, outside of Cap, the Steve Rogers, the best patriotic looking suit and costume. So
Absolutely.
when you have an American flag cape, in my book, that goes a long way.
Okay. So now, gentlemen, we came to the last of the slides. And in your opinion, just SKN's opinion for Pixel Plastic and Ink, like which one of you guys is top? Who is the most patriotic character to you that we've seen out of these 10 plus characters?
Steve
Well,
Rogers.
I'm you left out the character that I was going to bring, and so I do have a slide ready here.
Okay.
This is someone from Earth C in the DC universe. Yankee Poodle.
What in the hell?
The people of Earth on Earth C were turned into anthropomorphic animals, and
I
Yankee
think we're gonna
Poodle.
get like flagged for this.
Yankee
I
Poodle
don't know.
is part of the zoo crew who actually showed up in Final Crisis and Countdown to Final Crisis as one of the Earths, that was collapsing and everything.
I would
But-
like everyone to know that Dr. Brindley let none of us know that he was going to show this slide. YouTube, this is
yeah.
just a cartoon.
Look, chat. I say Steve Rogers, Captain America, is the most patriotic character, and Dr. Brantley interrupts me
Yeah.
to give me Yankee Poodle.
Yankee Poodle
And
Dandy,
totally
come on.
changes my mind on who the most patriotic character is. Yankee Poodle for the win.
Okay. Well, nothing's like a dog work for the United States government. So
I think it's a wash. I'm going to go with the Yankee Poodle
I
as
think
well.
I mean,
it's 4 for 4. Look,
mind blown.
we're this is an annual thing. We'll probably do it every year. So Steve, you got to work some stuff out here, bro. You got to put some time in. But Yankee Doodle for the win, ladies and gentlemen. And again,
I mean, just the fact that this dog was drawn to the right proportions goes a long way with me.
Well,
I mean, look at that right hand, especially. Just really dialed in.
Yes.
Well, it's one of those
Top
things that
notch. Look,
So good.
the zoo crew only had the top tier working on it.
And there go 20 subscribers. Please come back. Please come back. We're begging you.
All right. Well, like I said, gentlemen, we'll roll that in, and we'll just move over. So, hey, if you had to ask and everything at this point in time, we're saying, hey, if you comment, like, and subscribe, now would be the time. Back to you, Rat.
Well, appreciate it. Again, I guess there's a new custom figure that I'm gonna go get made, and that is Yankee Poodle. Speaking of action figures, well, it might be time for a very new and popular segment in the world of collectibles. And that's whether or not we decide the outcome of these next figures in our next segment, the Pre-Order Mafia.
Leave the McFarlane. Take the Mezco.
Mr. Storm, as
Absolutely.
always, we got the tier rating system all queued up here. I'm so excited to talk a little bit more about which figures will survive the pre-order test.
All right. Well, like I said again, if I wasn't frozen right here, so we'll give you a couple of seconds and everything. We'll let my man, Mr. Maddox, right to read that. I'll get my camera working again.
Yes, sir. So welcome to Pre-Order Mafia. We have been explaining this a little bit, but there's a 3-tier rating system, and last week we actually added a 4th tier, but that doesn't exist all the time. It's only for special purposes. Our first one is, is it a made figure? Meaning it's a made man in plastic. This figure earns its button, so it's something that you will pre-order. You have no doubts about it. Right. Then there's number 2, which is like, forget about it. It's like maybe it catches your eye, but it's not really your style. Give you an example. Darth Moocher really likes some of the Joe stuff being released, but that's not what he does anymore. So that he'd have like a forget about it. It's got some charm, but you don't break your back for it. Then when it's mostly related to McFarlane figures, there's a number 3 option, which is Needs to Sleep with the Fishes, and this is one that's getting whacked straight to the toy graveyard. And while Mr. Alexander Storm likes to say whacking off toys, that's not really what we mean. It just means that the toys are getting whacked, which means that you're not going to pre-order them. And that's Pre-Order Mafia, and sometimes there's a hidden 4th option, but for the most part, you're either going to get it, you're not, and should have never been made. So,
I mean, if the Yankee Poodle didn't get us banned, the whacking off toys definitely will.
Yeah.
So we're just testing the waters here on the
Happy
stream.
4th of July, everybody.
Hey.
Yeah, well, we got a couple of things to go through, and hopefully we'll see. I may have to switch out cameras again and everything because I think it's we're living here in Southern California, so it's a tad bit hot down here. So understand that it's affecting all the kind of things and situations. But we will roll into the actual pre-order mafia. We got some stuff to look over tonight. We have got the HasLab, gentlemen. What do you guys think about the HasLab? It was revealed earlier in the week this week. What's your thoughts on it? Do you think that in every possible way that this meted your expectations, or were you a little bit disappointed?
I said when I was on the Monday show, the HasLab reveal. If you haven't, please check that out here on the SKN channel. We did a whole hour on this HasLab reveal. I think it came down to 2 things that I wasn't sure about, which was the paint scheme that wasn't finalized upon the reveal, and the accessories were okay. Figures were cool. Yeah, it's a little bit, but I love the size. A little concerned about the rest of Arctic vehicles to go along with it, but overall pretty impressive. No surprises, but I'm gonna say it's a made HasLab. It's really cool. I like the size of it, and definitely backed the project.
Okay. Uh, Dr. Brentley, we know you didn't back the project.
Well,
So,
no, but I have to say that Dead Man 1 did change my mind about this, because I did think that it was going to be maybe too expensive. But when he actually broke down, like with inflation and how much it was and what you're getting, I was like, okay, actually, that's not too bad. And, for me personally, it's a forget about it. But if you are a collector, I think this is definitely a made vehicle.
yeah, I think it's good. It's one that I definitely jumped on. We again, like Brad said, we did do a whole show on this on Monday. The link will be up in the top, so you'll be able to check that out. But this is one that, look, the price point, the price point was good. I think there was a lot of like questioning coming up to it, like what would the cost be? I think they nailed the cost. I love the size of it. I know it's very close to the original one, but I do love the size of it in comparison to the other HasLabs, and even some gridiron stuff. So this was an order for me. I definitely got it. What about you, Mr. Alexander Thunderous Storm?
oh, absolutely. The minute it went out, I actually purchased it, or backed it. I thought the price, again, we talked about this. It had to be under 350. I thought 324. I was shocked by that price. I thought Hasbro would take the opportunity to like jack the price up a little bit more. So I thought that was great. Like I said again, I think it's way bigger than I had imagined it to be. I was thinking it had to be bigger than his tank. It is substantially larger than his tank. Lore wise, this is where my only problem is that this is the first snow vehicle, and in any possible way I wasn't thinking that we needed that into the line. But hey, you never know what they've got planned down. You never know if there's that must mean that we're going to probably get a polar bear, which is a snowmobile. I could see that going to like retail because it's a very small vehicle. So I think that they're going to try to build this lore out a little bit. But I love Frostbite. It was interesting to have the nod back to the two the G.I. Joe character from Real American Hero, which they came with Lady J and Flint, which is from an episode of the original show. So it's smart in that way. So again, but pricing to me was the key counterpart. Lights was it lit up a little bit better than I was anticipated. I like the blue dash. It's a winner. And as earlier in the day we were talking about this, that I think at this moment it's probably looking like it's closer to maybe right around. And this is a pre-tape show, so it's right around about 5,000 so far for day one. You'll be seeing this towards the end of the week. So at that time, I got a feeling it's going to probably be fully funded by week's end, man.
I
Yeah,
agree.
I think it's over. It's like, yeah, it's well over 5,000.
Yeah, it's gonna probably be that. Here's the three tiers, the characters. All kind of different versions of cosplay kind of scenario from them. Starbucks cups and the coffee and eggs, and they can actually have little hot dogs they can roast by the fire, and then they also got some weapons. So a lot of great things. And if you need to, you got to get to 10,000 to unlock the Lady J. That seems like that's extremely doable. They have a battle station that's right around, if I'm not mistaken, 12,000. That seems extremely doable. And Flint gets unlocked at 14. Now we've seen it easily the old campaigns go beyond 16. So I think this is really with the pace that's going on right now, this is something that's going to be funded. But if you want a contrast to this, you can take a look and see what it used to look like in 1985/86. And it came with 3 Joe flag points too, which was very interesting at that point. And we actually learned that this was only for less than $7 in the 1980s price wise. So you're not going to beat that anytime. So, did anybody have the original Snowcat? I had it, but did anybody else have it?
I did, but I
All right.
remember a buddy of mine, like he had a bunch of vehicles and he gave it to me, and I do remember like it was a little beat up. It didn't have all the accessories, but I do remember even like the windshield might have been a little beat up too. But it
Yeah.
was cool, man. It was great vehicle.
Well, the thing that becomes familiar is the snowpedos. Yes, they coined that the term snowpedos. So look, that's probably getting backed and everything. So if you actually did back it, let us know in the comments. And let us know if you were happy with the pricing and if you like the characters that came with it. From there, we jump on to, well, here's the thing, SH Figuarts. I don't like to slander anybody's name because usually these guys actually do great stuff.
So I'll
This
just
is
open.
this is the first time
Well,
that
let me
I have
slander
seen
them.
yeah, this is the first time
Yeah, I
I've
like how
ever
you're like,
seen
I
this
don't.
quality.
I like how you're like, I don't like to slander their names, but you like
But
enunciated it the best ever.
I tried to, brother.
SH Figuarts. I don't like to shit on people, but when I do, you will know your name.
Look, man, you make good shit. Normally, I've never heard this line. It's always synonymous with looking like the actual subject matters that they're doing. Great articulation,
Yeah.
everything. This just fails. Now, there's a couple of things they have on this actual, and this is up for pre-order. So right now, as you're watching this on July 4th, don't worry. You can go on to
You
shfiguarts.com or
still get
wherever
it.
you need to go to. It's going to still up here. It's not going nowhere. You're going to get this, and you're going to wait till January of 2026 for this comes out. So if the movie's not good, you're going to be really pissed if you ordered this.
Yeah,
But
wait 2 weeks until the movie comes out, and then
Maybe.
you can order
Maybe.
it if it's good.
This cape is made of fabric with an embedded wire for dramatic posing. They've been doing that a lot with a lot of McFarlane, a bunch of other people. Star Wars Black Series did it, so they've been using that a little bit more with a signature articulation, detailed sculpting of SH Figuarts. A wide variety of iconic scenes can be recreated. It is up for pre-order right now. I can guarantee you, as July 4th, I can look into the future, use my Nostradamus. It's still up for pre-order right now. Like, what do you guys think? Is anybody like, does this change your mind? Are you going to go see the movie on this based on this figure?
I think first of all, Nostradamus was full of shit because all he did was just say a lot of generalities that could be taken any way that you wanted. So, second of all, this guy's head kind of reminds me of someone. Doesn't really look like Superman. So I mean, I'm not gonna get this. There's no point in getting this. The only figure that I ever wanted to get about this movie was a Superman that has like the swappable faceplates, because I just wanted to see and kind of feel how they did that, because I think that's pretty neat. But look, SH Figuarts, they usually do pretty good stuff, right? But this version of their Captain Super Underpants Man, like like the head sculpt definitely looks like somebody else, 1000%. And I'm with you. Like, it's July 4th now. You can still get pre-orders. They still have almost all of the ones that they were had on for pre-order anyways. What about
Are
you,
you
Rab?
not going to say who you think it looks like?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they watch this show.
Come on, man.
I mean, if you think you know who it looks like.
I guess we're waiting to see it. Yep.
There it is.
Yeah,
There you go.
there it is.
There it is. Shooter McGavin Superman.
I didn't want to put it out there because I don't want everyone to buy his action figure.
The collector's going to be like, "Did you get that new the Shooterman action figure?"
The other thing is the gaps look so big in these joints. It looks kind of ridiculous. It also looks like he's wearing a Speedo or something.
They do.
I don't know. Just everything about it looks weird, and it's going to be more expensive than a regular McFarlane figure.
Look how far down the S goes on his chest, by the way.
The problem is the suit.
Yeah.
You could thank James Gunn for that.
Yeah, the suit doesn't. That's all. Not indicative.
The articulation is going to probably be pretty decent. I don't know what this. Sometimes the SH figure arts, they will be more than 6 inches. Sometimes it's less. It's always been kind of a known issue, but I think overall there's no interest because regardless of how good or bad the movie is, he's just not a dynamic looking Superman that I would want to pose or on my shelf. And I think you're gonna get this no problem if you want it.
All right, so
it'll be discounted about 8 months from now, maybe sooner.
It'll be the only SH Figuarts on shelf.
Oh no, you'll go Big Bad Toy Store. You get this for like $69 or something. So just hold.
I'm gonna say that this Superman sleeps with the fishes.
Yeah.
Not working too well for that.
Yeah.
All right. So now move on to that. And last week we had issues with Uncle Todd. This week, hey, you can have a bounce back week. Coming in now, actually, since this is on the 4th that you're watching this, you've got to next week to actually pick this up. So make sure you do. This is part of McFarlane Toys DC Multiverse, which McFarlane has coined Phygital, which means physical and digital together. So you can get a NIT kind of like version of this. You're keeping your digital wallet along with the actual character itself. But this Batman, if you read, is one of the popular series that they did, the No Man's Land version of Batman, and then a Batgirl for a little point, which also was Robin at one point too. Stephanie Brown version of it. Now, Chet, you had some interest in the Stephanie Brown character, correct?
Yeah, I love Batgirl. Stephanie Brown was a cool Batgirl. This is a good figure. I like that. I actually really like this Batman too, to be completely honest. And I think it's because I like the yellow belt. These are two figures that I wouldn't be opposed to getting.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So
what is the Stephanie Brown one's cool?
What is the digital component to these?
It's like. Go ahead, Chet.
Yeah, so like I mean, when he first announced this, I went and got one, and we did it on Toybox Chronicles. And honestly, what it is you buy it, and then there's a code. You scan it on a Bitcoin wallet, and then it generates. So you have the ability to get like a super rare one. And I did that on one of the Batmans that I bought, and I got as like super rare, but like no one really uses it. No one really does it. And then you own that digital one, but like that doesn't really do anything outside of that. Then it's just like, cool, check this out. I have a Batman digital card I'm not going to use. So it's not really like it doesn't really like it doesn't really add value. Like, I guess where it would make sense on like the digital side of this is if these were like Rad collects a lot of like hot toys and like higher end toys, right? So like it would be like if those toys had the ability to register them to Rad's account, and then that's how you knew it was like a legit toy. But this doesn't do any of that. It's just literally, in fact, while we're talking, I'll even see if I still have the app installed on my phone, and I'll show you.
Yeah,
It's just a waste of time, basically.
Yeah, we'll just.
It seems like it.
Put a little elevator music right here. Mr. Chad actually checks to see if he still has that app up. There. Don't do it too much for the copyright music now.
I don't think we can keep going. I don't think we need to worry about it.
Okay. All right. Well, like I said, ladies and gentlemen, I think these are they're definitely not made men. They're not actually though. Actually, some they need to sleep with fishes. I'm gonna put this into some forget about it. So if you're into the Batman No Man's Land, and also you've got a limited time to get these Todd McFarlane figures because the license is reverting back to Mattel. So he's in the what we call the death thralls of making these last couple of characters out because it's gonna be gone soon. So other than that, Rad, that's it for the Pre-Order Mafia.
Well, McFarlane's always on that like cusp of it's on the loading dock into the water, potentially tied to cinder blocks. But SH decided that it was going to go sleep with the fishes. So much appreciated. As
Batman didn't have that giant gap problem. I'll tell you that.
He did not. He did not. Well, we're inching closer to this 4th of July weekend special ending, but we are about to approach one of our favorite segments. If you haven't already, please subscribe, like, follow, drop a comment. Thanks for hanging out with us. Hope you're having a really great 4th of July barbecue, fireworks, family, friends, staying safe. But it's now time for the final segment and the most fun segment, and that is SKN News.
That's right. From our world to your world, this is SKN News, and we start this off with, if you haven't heard this in Hollywood and everything, and actually, let's be honest, this was a controversial thing. We didn't think we were going to go for it, but it made the final cut. And the intern said, you know what, we think we're all right on this. So, look, we're used to this happening at conventions. We've been to a bunch of comic conventions throughout the years. Rarely have we ever seen something like this. But we'll start this segment off with sweep the leg or just bite her. Actor from Cobra Kai, Alicia Kim, has addressed the recent altercation with co-star Martin Cove, during which he bit her arm at a fan convention. On June 23rd, Cove was asked to leave SummerCon in Washington after Miss Kim accused him of biting her during a VIP meet and greet. According to the police report, which never is a good thing when they say those terms, according to the police retained by Variety, in a report, Miss Kim told officers stationed in the VIP area that after she tapped Cove on the shoulder to say hello, he suddenly turned, grabbed her arm, and bit her so hard it nearly drew blood. Now, Miss Kim did decline to press charges, and she's requested that a report be filed in case this continues. Cove issued a very apologetic response back to this the following day after news of the incident broke. Again, we've been in we've seen the Hall H Samurai incident through Comic-Con years ago. We're used to seeing fans fight. I've seen lightsaber duels that turned really real bad at some of these conventions. I have yet to see that happen behind the scenes with actors. Guys, do you think it just was a bad day, or you just what do you chalk this up to and shit? Maybe signed a little too long that day?
Yeah, you never know. He could have just thought it was some regular random person tapping him on the shoulder, and he's like, "No, I don't like that."
Yeah. Could have been.
Maybe a little overreaction, but
maybe so. Mr. Maddox, seen anything of this nature at any of the conventions that you've done throughout the country?
I mean, I have, but like this one's just
some stuff.
This This one's like it's like one of those ones where I read about it and I was like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense. And then I was like, wait, why am I okay with it? And why does it make sense to me? Like, he's probably hungry. I don't know.
There's Rad. Well, we've seen some things. We've seen some things at some conventions. A lot of times, San Diego Comic-Con. But what's this gauge to you? Something that maybe it's just a one-time incident, could have been a harmless scenario, or it's indicative of something that we may see followed up lately.
All I know is this is the last time we'll be talking about Mr. Cove. So, any other things you want to remember about his time, primarily in Karate Kid franchise? Now is the time, but abnormal behavior and definitely not patriotic. So
I will say this though, it's indicative of his character from Cobra Kai. I will tell you that though. So it
That's
does
what I'm
not
saying. That's why I
surprise
wasn't
me.
like shocked.
Yeah.
He also has a very biteable face. If you look at him, it's like, yeah, I mean, it's like a real life walking Killer Croc. So
It does work well. Like I said, hopefully they've worked this thing out and everything. I do know that Rad is correct and everything else like that. He was on his farewell tour and he did not know it. But on to the next bit of news for
that's
tonight.
true. That's true.
Is the first scores are in, and Jurassic World Rebirth. Now, here on Pixel Plastic Inc., we've said that this is, if there's anything that can get close to Lilo and Stitch, just due to the international levels, probably Jurassic World due to franchise. But some of the scores that came in, 73 reviews of Jurassic World Rebirth have been counted on Rotten Tomatoes, and as of they write this, it currently sits at a rotten 58%. On the plus side, the score makes it far from the franchise's worst reviewed installment. That would happen to be the several that actually had Chris Pratt in. 2022's Jurassic World Dominion had a dismal 29%, while Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom had 47%. Next up is, well, we knew this. I'm surprised this one's that low. Jurassic Park 3, 49% with the talking Velociraptor. I remember that one. The Lost World, Jurassic Park 52%. Jurassic World itself at 72%. And of course, the high ranking one was Jurassic Park, the first movie, Certified Fresh entry with 91%. Now, it is worth noting that the Jurassic Park franchise is typically critic proof, meaning that every chance Rebirth will still be one of the summer's biggest hits. It actually releases, if you're watching it before, it released a couple of days, so you can actually go this weekend and see this movie. Guys, do you think these critics, it doesn't even matter what they're going to say about Jurassic World internationally, it's going to do well? Do you think it's going to hurt the film's chances?
Oh, it does not matter at all. This could be the lowest rated of them, and it will still probably make about $1 billion. People just want to see dinosaurs eating people.
Mm-hmm. Especially experimental dinosaurs. Mr. Maddox, changes your opinion of this, or you're like, critics don't know crap?
I don't ever listen to critics. If they didn't get enough money, then it's a bad movie. If they got a lot of money, it's a great movie. That's how it works.
Okay. And Rad, has this shaken you? Are you not going to make a trip to Jurassic Park, or you're going to take that tram one more time?
I like watching dinosaurs. It's the same thing with some of the the kaiju flicks. You just want to see a bunch of monsters tearing up and fighting. They did an amazing job PR with all the dinosaurs and lakes, and it's going to make a ton of money. I don't watch this for the amazing story. If I did, I'd go watch the first one. So I'll watch it, and I'm sure it'll be a little bit of a higher increase for the fans, the true dino heads that come up, and I expect it to be probably higher than 58%.
Now, let me ask you this. Does everyone agree here that you think that there's a shot? This is the other shot to do $1 billion this summer?
Yes.
It's probably the only one that has a shot.
I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking as well.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, the only thing that would change it would be like if the Fantastic Four comes out and gets the best reviews ever, or Superman, and we all think that's not going to happen. But if it comes out and it's 98% Rotten Tomatoes and everyone's like, "Oh my God, it's the best Superman ever," I just don't think both of those have legs to get to $1 billion.
Okay. All right. Well, gentlemen, time will tell. Actually, if you haven't, you can actually go check this out this weekend. and see there's a lot of crazy mutated dinosaurs, all kind of stuff. And Scarlett Johansson, everybody has given her, saying that she really took it up a notch, leaving the MCU into this. So good things I've heard. So I'm looking forward to seeing it. And you know what? We're not going to see is this is the end of SKN News.
Well, Mr. Storm,
Yes, sir.
I think we might have missed one
We did.
additional topic.
We did. And you know what? We're going to roll in. This is one of our favorite new topics that comes up. And just like all things, because it's a moment, it sometimes is late. But guess what? It's time for the rumor alert. Damn opening. It is wild. Well, here's a rumor that's fresh off that we'll run through. Bay back for more than meets the eye, according to Puck News, which is also via Screen Rant, which is very associated online presentation. Michael Bay is developing a new Transformer movie for Paramount Pictures that he wants to direct. Supposedly, Bay, who wanted to return to the franchise, rather Paramount that courted him back. The Ben's Jordan Van Dina said is said to be writing the project script. While it remains to be seen if Bay wish to direct will be granted or not, he will at minimum be on the hands producer, and also unclear if this particular Transformer movie will be set in the same continuity as the previous ones that he's helmed, or be a complete reboot. Look, we've seen it. It's been 8 years since he's done one of these, and I'm going to say take this with a grain of salt because I know the people behind Paramount. This is one where even though they've got rumors and everything, they're not going to ask Michael Bay to come back. But what do you guys think and everything? You think there's a good shot after 8 years he can come back and direct one? And would you want him to direct one, actually? That's the key point.
No, he just wants the money. He gets a ton of money for directing these Transformers movies. So, and I haven't seen him do anything lately that's on this level. So that's probably what he wants. And according to Puck News, I think we're all pucked if this happens.
Oh,
The Transformers movies have been doing just fine without him, so there's no need for a comeback.
Look, I'll be honest with that. Rise of the Beast actually was a better film than I thought it was going to be. I was
It's actually one of the better ones, like that have come out recently for sure.
Yeah, so
I think the best Transformers movie that's come out over the past 15 years has been Bumblebee. That's probably the best one in terms of like story. But look, again, popcorn films. Like you don't go see those for the amazing plots and subplots and dialogue. And Michael Bay certainly has not been involved in anything that is incredible dialogue or acting. So stay on the sidelines. We appreciate what you did back in the day, but no return is needed.
Yeah, there's no Armageddon coming here for him. Mr. Maddox.
yeah.
Giving him one more shot.
I don't think you give him one more shot. He had how many shots? And it's just like, no, I think we're good. Look, I appreciate the amount of explosions that a Bay movie has. I really do. But it's just like you gotta put it into perspective here. This, the movies he did, they were great. It was cool. I think he was the right person at the right time to do the Transformer movies because it really set the precedent of what they should be. But right now, I think him coming back in, he's not the storyteller that it's turned into. So I just don't think,
Okay, well, like I said, it's very, we will see in time. But like I said again, a warning: I would take this with a grain of salt. Just knowing Paramount, one thing they don't like to do is lose money. The last Bay directed Transformer film lost money. That's a good clear indication that this is probably not going to happen, even though he may wish it. So let's wish Michael Bay good luck on whatever next franchise he takes over. But it looks like that's not coming for the Transformers universe. From there, we've got one that should bring the delight and heart and glee of my friend here, Dr. Brentley, who loves this character immensely. And this one we're going to say is a half truth because this one we've heard these kind of rumors before. It is Dr. Jones not done yet. According to the latest report, Lucasfilm is quietly preparing to reboot the Indiana Jones franchise, but not before giving it a bit of a breathing room. The studio is reportedly letting the IP rest for a bit before launching a full-scale reboot with an official announcement possibly coming as early as next year's D23 Expo. And if you know that, you're going to be paying to listen to that one. Despite the box office failure of Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, Disney and Lucasfilms apparently still see the property as a core brand. And our things come through. Well, look, it's the world of reels. Every now and then they get something right, and several X accounts and everything. But I've heard rumblings for a while too that Disney was quietly looking at how could they do something and get Indiana Jones out, and he did do that video game that did extremely well. So, guys, you think that the fedora and the whip is going to be cracked out pretty soon and go back to the screen?
People love the character. They just screwed up the last two movies of him. And I would assume this was going back to like the core of, 1930s Indiana Jones territory, where it's the fun action adventure stuff and not what they did the last couple of times.
Absolutely. I remember there was a young actor named Antonio Banderas that got his start in Hollywood. And he had, oh, wait a minute. No, he's been here in Hollywood. He was in a movie for 5 minutes. That last film. 5 minutes is how they respected Antonio Banderas. Mr. Maddox, you gonna go swinging into adventures with him one more time, brother?
I mean, I'm not opposed to it, to be honest. The video game is cool, man. I think the video game kind of like brought some life back into it. Hey, look, I'm curious how they would do it, who they would do it, if there was casting, what that would look like. I mean, look, we're getting a new Bond, why not a new Indy? And just kind of go from there. Like, while we're at it, let's get a new Tomb Raider. And then I wish eventually one point in time they would ever make a film about like Drake's fortune, from the PlayStation games, but they've never made a movie about that yet. So, they could do something, but I'm glad this is a half truth because I'm halfway excited to see what they do with it because it is a fun franchise to watch.
All right. Rad, what you thinking?
I mean, I think inevitably they're gonna have to have another Indy. I mean, it's just inevitable. And I think if there's any truth to this, I hope that they do let it rest for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think you just need a brand new creative team at the helm, and you need to find the right Indy. And if you could do those two things with great story, I think it could kick off another successful franchise in the Indy universe. But we know it's very difficult, Lucasfilm, in being able to take all that nostalgia and bring it back in a way that connects with new and old, because they've blown it several times.
Absolutely.
I think perhaps, just an idea, I think you let Favreau take a stab at it. I think you hand him the keys. I think he's done a tremendous job with Filoni on the Star Wars stuff.
I like to say that.
And maybe give him the keys here. He's done some other things outside Star Wars universe and get the casting right, but I don't think it's as soon as next year. But I would love to see Indy be successful. I'm just a little nervous with this regime as it stands at Lucasfilm.
Absolutely.
Yeah, casting and the script have to be right, otherwise you're dooming it immediately.
Well, casting's easy, right? That's Tom Holland. Like, next, it's either got to be like Tom Holland, Pedro Pascal, or I mean, that's really it. I can't really think of anyone else that would be good as Indy.
Well, like I said again, just to recap, we started the show with the most patriotic comic characters, and we end with a man who actually fought Nazis. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. This is the end of the rumor alert, and I got to tell you something. Everything, it's been very independent day for us.
Thank you, Mr. Storm. And thank you all again for watching us here on this 4th of July and 4th of July weekend. We appreciate you all hanging out each and every week. Again, PPIs every Friday, 7 p.m. Pacific time, right here in the world of pop culture. And then Wednesdays, 7 p.m. Pacific time, same channel, is the Toybox Chronicles for all your toys, news, collectibles. So that is all for this evening. Gentlemen, any last thoughts?
Hold on. You know, the whole Captain America thing and then being taken out by Yankee Poodle, that was one thing. But I would like to say that I definitely have another contender. This is a wild card. I know it's whatever, but I really do think there is something about Captain Bandit. So
Mm,
I'm just saying it kind of follows the whole
mm,
thing. It's very patriotic. We
It's
have
got
some
it.
fucking eagles.
There
He's
you
got a
go.
shield. He's got a tail. So obviously, you try to figure out why he's so familiar. It's in the same universe. Anyways, I just want to bring that up. Captain Bandit, just as a little FYI, you know. Same storyline happening with Yankee
yeah,
Poodle, you know.
yeah.
So,
You have a
sorry,
point.
so
I
stupid.
can't believe Captain Planet was in part of this.
But it's a planet, though.
yeah.
It's not for the United States.
Yeah, dude. This is
That
come
he
on.
had to be taken out from that. No international
Okay.
heroes.
All right.
No,
All right.
that's
Can't
in
care
April.
about-
That's like Earth Day. We'll do that.
You can't care about the USA and the environment. You have to choose one.
No,
Nope, that's true.
that's
Okay, everyone.
that's the moral I got from that TV show.
And we'll end it on that political note. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Have a great rest of your 4th of July. And enjoy your fireworks and your hot dogs. See you next week.